The dog refused to sleep anywhere except next to the baby. Nobody believed Sarah when she first told them. Not her mother, not her pediatrician, not even her husband, Mark. They smiled politely, nodded their heads, and quietly exchanged glances that said, "She's just a new mom." Sleep deprivation does strange things to people. But Sarah knew what she had seen. Every single night, without fail, their 5-year-old golden retriever, Biscuit, a dog who had always slept sprawled across the foot of their bed, had abandoned his spot and quietly padded down the hallway to the nursery. And there he stayed, curled tightly against the wooden slats of the crib, until morning. It started the night they brought baby Lily home from the hospital. What followed over the next several weeks would change how Sarah and Mark thought about dogs, about love, and about the invisible bonds that form between the most unlikely companions. And when they finally understood why Biscuit was doing it, the real reason, backed not just by emotion but by science, they broke down in tears. This is their story. And if you have a dog, or a baby, or both, you need to read every word of it. The night everything changed, Lily was born on a Tuesday in early October, just as the leaves were beginning to turn gold. She was healthy, pink and loud, with lungs that, as the nurses joked, could wake the entire maternity ward. Mark drove them home from the hospital in a daze of exhaustion and joy. The car seat installed too tightly in the back, Lily bundled up in a white onesie with tiny elephants on it. Biscuit was waiting at the door, as he always was. He had been a puppy when Sarah and Mark first adopted him, a clumsy ball of fur who chewed through 2 pairs of shoes and a television remote before settling into the gentle, loyal companion he'd become. He greeted them the way he always did, tail wagging in wide enthusiastic arcs, body wiggling with barely contained excitement. But then something shifted. The moment Sarah carried Lily through the door, Biscuit went still. He didn't bark, he didn't jump. He simply sat and stared at the bundled baby with an expression that Sarah would later describe as the most serious I've ever seen on a dog's face. He sniffed the air delicately, took a few slow steps forward, and gently pressed his nose against Lily's blanket. Then he looked up at Sarah, and she could have sworn she saw something like recognition in his eyes. That night they settled Lily into her crib and collapsed into bed, utterly drained. Biscuit, as usual, jumped up and curled at the foot of the mattress. But sometime in the early hours of the morning, Sarah woke to find him gone, heart quickening. She slipped out of bed and followed the dark hallway to the nursery. Biscuit was lying on the floor beside the crib, his chin resting on his front paws, his eyes open, watching. Sarah stood in the doorway for a long moment, not sure whether to laugh or cry. She whispered his name. He looked at her, wagged his tail once, slowly, calmly, and then returned his gaze to the crib. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, Biscuit. You keep watch." And he did, every single night after that. The habit that wouldn't break at first, Sarah assumed it was curiosity, the novelty of a new creature in the house, a new smell, a new sound. Dogs are naturally inquisitive, and Lily certainly produced enough interesting noises and scents to keep anyone occupied. She figured Biscuit would lose interest within a week or two, once the newness wore off. But the weeks passed, and Biscuit's vigil never faltered. He would eat his dinner, go outside for his evening walk, and then, around 9 or 10 o'clock, make his quiet journey down the hall. Mark once tried to call him back to the bedroom with his favorite squeaky toy. Biscuit paused, looked at the toy, looked back toward the nursery, and kept walking. "I've been replaced by a 6-pound baby," Mark said, half laughing, half genuinely wounded. They started telling people about it at dinner parties and family gatherings, and the reactions were always the same: amused smiles, gentle teasing, suggestions that the dog was confused or anxious about the change in household routine. A neighbor suggested they put the dog in a crate at night to break the habit. Sarah refused. Something in her gut told her not to interfere. She started keeping a journal. Every morning she'd note what time Biscuit had gone to the nursery, whether Lily had slept through the night, and anything unusual she'd observed. What she found, over several weeks of careful logging, was startling. On the nights when Lily was coming down with something, a cold, an ear infection, Biscuit seemed to know before anyone else. He would be especially alert, sometimes whimpering softly outside the nursery door before Sarah even realized Lily was feverish. Twice, he woke Sarah by nudging her hand at 2 in the morning, leading her to the nursery where Lily was crying. Not the usual hungry cry, but a sharper, more distressed sound. Both times, Lily had a fever above 101 degrees. Does your dog have a special bond with your child? You're not imagining it. Thousands of families share stories just like this one. Share this article with a friend who has both a dog and a baby. They need to see this. What science says about dogs and babies. When Sarah eventually mentioned Biscuit's behavior to her veterinarian, Dr. Patricia Howe, she got a very different response than the polite skepticism of her friends and family. Have you ever noticed how your dog's behavior completely changes when a new baby comes home? It's not just your imagination. There's a profound scientific reason behind it, and it's more incredible than you might think. When Sarah brought her newborn baby, Lily, home, her dog Biscuit started acting strangely. He would whine outside the nursery door and refuse to leave her side. Worried, she took him to the vet, Dr. Howe. What the vet said next left Sarah in tears. Dr. Howe explained that dogs possess an extraordinary sensory toolkit. Their noses, with up to 300 million olfactory receptors, can detect subtle physiological changes in humans that we can't see: shifts in hormones, body temperature, and even the chemical signatures of stress. But it goes deeper than smell. Dogs have co-evolved with us for tens of thousands of years, developing a sophisticated ability to read our body language and emotions. Researchers have found that dogs respond to infants with a special kind of gentleness. The high-pitched sounds and small size of a baby can trigger a dog's natural caregiving instincts. In simple terms, dogs might be biologically hardwired to protect the most vulnerable members of their pack. And to them, your baby is family. Biscuit wasn't being anxious or territorial. He was guarding a new, precious member of his pack. As Lily grew, her bond with Biscuit became something truly special. Her very first purposeful action wasn't reaching for a toy, but for Biscuit's soft fur. From that moment on, they developed their own unique language. A gurgle from Lily would get an ear perk, and a gentle lick from Biscuit, which would erupt into the purest baby laughter. He was never rough, never impatient. The same dog that would excitedly jump on her husband, Mark, became almost ceremonially gentle around the baby. Sarah filmed everything. Hours of footage show Biscuit's constant, gentle presence, watching over Lily in her crib, sighing deeply with his chin on the rail, and even positioning himself to break her fall during her first wobbly steps. In a time of overwhelming change, Biscuit was the one constant, a silent, furry guardian. And Sarah's story is far from unique. All over the world, families share similar experiences. A Labrador in Ohio who refused to leave the side of premature twins. A rescue greyhound who started sleeping under a baby's crib every single night, without any training. The stories are all strikingly similar. The dog notices, the dog responds, and the dog stays. Animal behaviorists suggest this is more than just instinct, it's a form of empathy. While we're still exploring the science of animal emotions, there's growing evidence that dogs experience a deep emotional connection with us. They don't just sense that something is different, they seem to understand that it matters. That tiny human is important. So next time you see a dog gently nudging a baby or sleeping faithfully by a crib, know that you're witnessing something truly profound. It's a quiet miracle, a testament to an ancient bond between two species. It's a love story written over thousands of years, happening right in our living rooms. What amazing stories do you have about your pets and your children? Share them in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories about the animals in our lives. Have you ever wondered what your dog is really thinking? Cognitive scientists say dogs live in a unique space between the wild and the domesticated, speaking a language that's part human and part something much, much older. This is the story of a dog named Biscuit, who lived in that space, and the baby he found there. For new parents, Sarah and Mark, Biscuit was family. But when their daughter Lily arrived, everything changed. One night, Sarah's world was turned upside down. Her husband Mark was away on business. Lily, just 4 months old, was asleep in her crib. Sarah, exhausted in that way only new parents understand, had collapsed into bed. Suddenly she was woken by a strange, low whimpering. It was Biscuit. He was standing by her bed, his paw on her arm, making a sound she'd never heard before. It wasn't a bark or a howl, but something quiet and urgent, almost like he was trying to speak. Before she was even fully awake, Sarah was on her feet, following Biscuit down the hall to Lily's room. Lily was flushed and breathing too fast. Sarah's heart dropped when she touched her forehead. It was burning with fever. She rushed Lily to the hospital. The diagnosis was RSV, a respiratory virus that can be very dangerous for infants. Lily got the treatment she needed and recovered completely. The doctor told Sarah she'd caught it just in time. When a nurse heard how Sarah woke up, she said something that stuck with her forever. "That's a good dog. This isn't just a sweet story. It's a powerful reminder of what we miss when we stop paying attention to the animals we share our lives with." We've bred dogs for centuries to hunt and guard, but in doing so, we've also bred an incredible emotional intelligence into them. They can read our emotional states with an accuracy that's almost unbelievable, without judgment or agenda. There's only presence. Biscuit didn't guard Lily because he was trained to. He did it because something deep inside him, something ancient and wordless, knew it was the right thing to do. So, if you're a new parent, don't be so quick to dismiss your dog's strange new behaviors. That sudden alertness, the new sleeping spots, the restlessness might not be a problem, it might be a gift. Your dog knows things about your baby that no high-tech monitor can ever tell you. They sense things in the quiet hours of the night that could one day mean everything. Today, Lily is a happy, chatty toddler. Her first word was mama. Her second, Biscuit. She pointed right at him, naming the most important thing in her world. Biscuit is a bit older now, his muzzle graying at the edges, but he still sleeps in Lily's room, watching over her with the same steady, unwavering love he's always had. On the tough days, Sarah sits on the floor with Biscuit, her daughter sleeping peacefully nearby, and she feels it. The profound peace that comes from a love that never asks for anything in return, that guards without being told, that always stays. If this story touched your heart, please share it. Let it be a reminder for all of us. The next time your dog acts in a way you don't understand, take a moment, pause, and pay attention. They might be trying to tell you something truly important. Thanks for watching.